Let's let's go bigger and look at the outlook for the continent now. Boko Haram attacks in Nigeria and the Ebola virus outbreak are unlikely to impact negatively on Africa's economic growth prospects. A conference on Africa's economic outlook that was underway in Johannesburg earlier heard that while there have been devastating effects for the countries themselves, the impact is not as dramatic for Africa at large.
Despite the challenges it faces, sub-Saharan Africa is expected to continue a robust growth at about 5% this year. The low oil prices will have adverse implications for oil exporters, but it's great news for importers. The expected rising interest rates in the US also threaten portfolio inflows into the continent. But Ebola is not seen as a bigger threat to growth.
The positive news for Ebola, at least if we compare to 4 months ago, is that it seems to be relatively contained. We haven't had any new cases of infection outside of the core countries of Guinea, Sierra Leone and Liberia. So they are making positive ground in terms of trying to eradicate it in that part of the world. In terms of the, you mentioned Nigeria and the Boko Haram terror attacks in the northeast of the country, which is causing significant casualties. That is a concerning issue. It's something the new administration, once it's voted in February, will have to address.
Speakers say the continent needs to ensure that despite the challenges it faces, growth remains strong and inclusive.
Oil prices now having come down, a lot of commodity prices having come down earlier last year, adjusting to that will be the challenge, to ensure that growth remains high, but more importantly, maybe even inclusive. It reaches the broad population, not just a few privileged. Also to make sure that macroeconomic policies stay on the right track. A number of countries we've seen government debt building up again, slowly, countering that a bit, making sure that levels stay at a margin that allow you to continue to pursue the policies that you want to pursue.
It's also expected that investments will start moving away from the oil-rich West Africa towards the east of the continent.
We will start to see capital's interest increasingly moving away from West Africa, which has been traditionally oil-propelled, toward East Africa, driven by the likes of the East African community. Think Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, South Sudan, arguably even Ethiopia as an add-on, and Mozambique. So the centre of gravity's interest is shifting sort of eastwards, and those are commodity, by and large, poor economies, with Tanzania, Mozambique potentially around natural gas being the somewhat exceptions. So I think we'll start to see country or business capital looking at these new winning countries rather.
The drop in the oil prices presents a risk that the continent's economic growth may drop to 4.8% as the largest economy in Nigeria is hard hit. Gloria Sefako, SABC News, Johannesburg.